You can get AI to make some like epic intro music, theme song for GameFi
True.
Rundown.
True.
Hey, I should do that. Welcome back to the GameFi Rundown. This is episode 43. We have Jimberino as always. Jimbo, how you doing?
Fantastic. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Threw him
And
off there.
What?
I threw you off a little bit there, huh? Never mind.
Yeah.
Edit this shit out.
You usually don't say anything. You usually just
I
say,
know.
hey.
Oh man.
Okay, and then we have Artemis. Can't get my left and right. Artemis, how you doing?
Good, more decisive than you guys, it looks like.
Yeah, we just like to have fun on this. That's why I do this GameFi Rundown. Just so I can sit for an hour and talk with Jimberino and look at his nice beard.
It is glorious.
It's great. And anyone watching, if you haven't seen the tweet or X post, whatever that Jim Jimberino just put out this morning, or it would have been like 2 or 3 days ago at this point, the AI music, the editing is great. I think it already had over 3,000 views, and it's only been like, what, half a day?
I mean, it's not a big deal, but yeah.
Not a big deal. Yeah, go check that one out. Well, let's just get right into this. So, first segment here is the Samsung partnership. I don't even want to talk just specifically about the partnership with Illuvium, just their Web3 initiative. It seems like they have 6 partners that they're teaming up with. Let me see if I can share my screen here. So they are partnering with Illuvium, obviously. And then we have Wilder World. We have, what is this one? I don't know. Ledger, World of Woman, Polygon. What is this other one here? Belvedere Museum?
Yeah, I don't know how that's like on topic, but okay.
Could that have been like a miss at
It is there. Yeah. No, it's there. Belvedere.
Belvedere?
Interesting.
Apparently, I just looked over that one because I've only recognized the other 5. But being a big Illuvium fan, biggest takeaway I got from this is that there's only 6 partners that Samsung, chose, and Illuvium is one of them. Like, it's not like they have 50 partners in the Web3 and Illuvium is just one of 50. Like, they're one of 6, and I believe only 2 of these are games, right? So one of 2 games that they chose to partner with. So, I mean, what are your first impressions on this, Artemis?
Well, I totally just Googled the Belvedere Museum to see what's going on with that. But I'll back up real fast. First, the fact that Samsung is like, it's not just Web3 games. It's like Ledger, it's Polygon, it's known entities. It tells me that they're trying to do more than just like, I mean, GameStop left a lot of people feeling kind of not great. And I mean, this could go the same way, but I'm hoping for better. It's interesting. Belvedere Museum has an international conference that is building on focusing, putting the metaverse, Web3, popular historical artifacts into Web3. So I guess you could think of having like the museum in, a metaverse, the sandbox, somewhere like that. But what I'm happy to see is just the variety, because that tells me is they're not trying to go in and just like make a quick buck off of a partnership that like, hey, here's our discs and you get 50% of the revenue from people that buy the promo discs. So that alone is nice, but I'm also trying to keep my expectations tempered, because beyond the fact that we've partnered, there isn't a whole lot of details as to, what benefit are we giving Samsung? What benefit are they giving us? It's also really nice to see that within hours of us launching that announcement, they did as well.
No, that was great. I'm excited about this. And like you said, with like the GameStop and even with like Team Liquid, which I know Jimbo knew all about them. I didn't know much about them. But it seemed like it was kind of just based around like the Illuvitar promo discs. It seems like Samsung's going to be a lot more. I'm hearing stuff about TVs and phones. Like, if we can buy a Samsung TV and just load up Illuvium and play on the TV, like that, for sure I'm going out to the store and buying a Samsung TV when that happens.
Well, I think any 2022 Samsung TV and newer has their gaming hub hooked in. And from kind of the promo stuff I've seen, like they're featuring, prominent games. If Illuvium gets featured on that, and you can just pop over and go like, hey, what's this game? This is cool. I'm going to check it out. Like, you got somebody's foot in the door.
Yeah.
So that will be exciting but I mean, the downside is it's the newer TVs, right? And I haven't looked into how much they cost. So price is always a little factor.
Yeah, no, I know you're saying it's not necessarily like the biggest onboarding tool, because not very many people are probably going to have those TVs. I think it's pretty cool.
I mean, the best part about Illuvium, in my opinion, it's the long-term play. Like, even if like Arena and our open beta launch isn't the home run, we're making millions we thought it was going to be. The thing I've always loved about Illuvium that I think is the best thing about them is every single action they take, every development they do is looking not at a year down the line, but 10 years down the line. That to me is what this partnership is.
And so, Jimbo, one of the things that they said in their, I don't know if either of you listened to it, but they had a Spaces. One of the things I took away from that is them, they kept saying, like, bringing Web3 to, like, the real world, you know, bringing it to the TVs, to the phones. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Like Artemis said, I'm really trying to keep my expectations down on this one. I'm hoping it's not a nothing burger, but like for right now, it kind of seems like that way. Let's just be honest. But I will say something Scoriox brought up in the download, which is their podcast, which is great. So check it out. But something he said was it might have something to do with cloud gaming, so that like you don't have to have that PC set up and you can play it on your actual Samsung TV. And then if they're in Web3, they'll have the wallet integration in there already, so you won't have to worry about that side of things. I'm not really sure how to feel about this overall, though. I mean, it's obviously great that we're partnering with Samsung, but to what extent, that has yet to be seen. Like Artemis said with the GameStop thing, at least they tweeted it out at the same time. And then Team Liquid, I mean, those are my boys. We won the North American Championship, by the way. I know no one cares, but you need to know this. And now we're going to an international tournament, and we're going to just destroy all those disgusting non-Americans. So, yeah, Team Liquid was great. I actually thought the partnership for Team Liquid was pretty fun. But maybe that was just me. But yeah, Samsung, not sure how I feel about it, but I'm also, I mean, we don't have a lot of details to go off of right now. It's all speculation, and that's not really my thing.
Yeah. Well, I just like that Samsung is just a big name. Like,
Yeah.
GameStop, big name, yeah, sort of. Team Liquid, I would say not a very big name. Big name in the gaming space, but outside of
Yeah.
that, not really. But Samsung, like, everybody knows Samsung. Whether they have a Samsung phone or a TV or I don't even know what else they make, but I'm sure they make a lot of other gadgets. I feel like most people have heard of Samsung. And if Samsung is going to be pushing this Web3 initiative, like, to any extent, it's only good for Illuvium, you know?
Yeah, and just to reiterate, I just hope it's not like the GameStop thing. But I think the GameStop kind of had their foot out of the door with the NFTs and crypto, so maybe that was one of the reasons. But I have big hopes for Samsung, and I trust Karen to get like really good business deals done with them. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll be following along, and whenever we do get more details, then I'll make sure to bring it up in a future rundown episode or in another video. But why don't we move on to segment number 2 here? So this is the other big news of the past couple weeks, is the open beta testnet. So it's basically the game that we're getting, but we're not going to be on the main net yet. We're on the testnet. It is going to get reset after that. I guess a couple of details quick, and then I got some questions for you. So we're going to be, the registration has already started, so I think all 3 of us have different links that you can use, so pick your favorite one. Use one of our links and get signed up for that. There's going to be 10,000 spots available for the private testnet before we get to the open testnet. You have about a week and a half left to sign up for this, and on April 30th is when the testnet will start. I know all of us are excited to play, but my question to you is, well, first of all, like I said, only 10,000 spots are available for the private testnet, and there's going to be part of the airdrop, the play to airdrop, allocated, to the players who get in on there. And I want your thoughts. Artemis, we'll start with you. Is it fair to the whole community to say only 10,000 people are going to get into this, and we're airdropping you, like there's a play to airdrop, but you have to get selected to get in?
Can you give me one second, dude? I need to kill this fucker.
We gotta fly. Is this fair to the whole community to say that you need to get selected into this private testnet to be eligible for this rewards? Or do you think it's something like maybe there shouldn't have been rewards for the private testnet and save them all for open testnet and open beta?
So I actually think there might be a misunderstanding here. My understanding, actually from my AMA with Kieran, and now I feel like I'm going to have to go check after this, there's only going to be 10,000 people for the first 30-ish days that we're on the testnet. The next 30 days or more, depending on what kind of fixes they need to do, is open to the public. So yes, those 10K get a head start, but it's only like half to maybe a third, again, depending what issues they run into and need to fix. it's just a head start. It's not excluding everybody. So, we get in and maybe, we'll get a larger allocation. And is that fair? Like, maybe. It is dependent on what you put into it, though. I've already been thinking about, like, there's a lot of community members who are just like, is some random person who just learned about Illuvium going to have a greater chance of getting into the 10,000 than me, who's been here for 2.5 years? And it's always, really reassuring to say, like, well, no, that we're going to be looking at playtime amongst all three of the games. Like, they're putting a lot of different factors into the algorithm that's going to be picking these people out. So I think it's fine because, again, I don't feel like they're excluding everyone, because once we hit that second section, it opens to everybody on the Epic Game Store and you have the same chance as everyone else. The other thing I find really exciting about this 10% drop is it's getting paid out before open beta. Whereas once we hit open beta, it's like, okay, we got to wait 5 to 6 months and really be consistent if I want to get a hefty chunk of that airdrop.
Yeah, now that'll be nice for the people who want to fund the actual, open beta when we get there. Because if they get that airdrop right before it, then, like, you've got to think a good chunk of them are going to be like, all right, well, I'm going to maybe trade this over to ETH and then get right back into the open beta. But
don't do
honestly,
that. Don't do that.
So,
Switch it.
Now,
Hey, here's a hint. Take your ILV that you get from the airdrop, swap it into SILV2.
Yeah.
Not financial advice.
Not financial advice.
No.
You get like
not,
one and a half times what you had. I've been doing that for the last like 6 months. I've got a nice little stack.
I've been doing too much of that. But another thing I was gonna say is I feel stupid for even asking that question, because once you started answering it, I was like why? If I would have just looked at it a little bit more, I would have known that. I just didn't prepare myself too much. But yeah, the 10% is for the whole test net, not just the private part. So yeah, so there will be 10,000 people who get in early, but then we're looking at another, I think we heard 4 to 6 weeks of the open test net before we hit open beta. So everyone will get a chance to be part of that 10%. Jimbo, what are your thoughts on this? On the test net.
I'm super excited just to get into start playing the game, dude. Like, I want to start shooting alluvials. I want to start catching them, trading them around, even if it's fake. Like, and to the point of the question of if it's fair, like, dude, it's based off of hours that you've played in the game, activity in the Discord, all these things that prove that you were active. Yeah, so it's maybe there's I don't know, I don't even want to get into that, but I think it's completely fair, and just understand that, like, if they don't offer these incentives during the private beta and then like opening up the beta before open beta, that sounded weird, but if they don't offer these things, people aren't going to play as much, therefore we're not going to get as many bug reports, therefore open beta is going to be more buggy than it should have been. Like, we're incentivizing people to play and report bugs.
Now,
they should make that one of the goals you have to hit. It's like, okay, here's your daily task, report 2 bugs.
For sure.
Hey, that would be good. But honestly, Jimbo, you took my reasoning right out of my mouth there. That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, it's really an incentive to play before we hit the open beta. Because we've seen with all the other releases that we've had, we get, a spike for a week, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks, of a lot of people playing. And then it comes back to like, all right, this isn't the real thing yet. We're not on chain. And then it dies off a little bit. But the incentive of these rewards is going to keep people playing for that whole test net. So, and now that I'm working part-time with the Illuvium data team, like, I know how important it is to get that data in. Because right now we're working with some data of just some internal playtests. And it's hard to really work with data when you don't have that much of it. So during this testnet, the more people that get playing, the more data you have, the more bugs that they can find, the better the open beta is going to be when it comes out. So I think it is important to be incentivizing people to play.
They can also balance the game better, because they'll be able to see fuel, how many people capture alluvials, get shards. All of that is very, very important for balancing. Do not understate that. It is very important. So yes, it is fair. We need this.
Let's see. We'll go on to the next topic here. There's been a couple ideas thrown around. One that was posted in the Discord, one by Kieran. The one I'm talking about in the Discord was about having training gyms inside of Illuvium 0, where you could, I don't know all the details of how they put this together, but basically you can get experience on your alluvials by putting them into a structure on your Illuvium Zero base. So that would basically be in replace of going into the overworld and playing with those alluvials to gain the experience. And then Kieran had talked about, I think the first time he actually brought this up was in the interview I had with him. He talked about a possible like speed run option so that people who don't want to go into the overworld have another way of getting alluvials, maybe on mobile. So my question is it okay, do you think, to be giving workarounds to the overworld? Or was the whole core idea of Illuvium that you needed to go into the overworld to catch these alluvials and to experience them up? Or do you think there's, a good reason to be able to bypass the overworld? Jimbo, why don't we start with you on this one? What are your thoughts on that?
So I'll lay down what I prefer and then reality. I prefer that we always go through overworld. I think breaking that chain feels really bad for me personally, for the immersion of just the ecosystem as a whole. But if there's data that says Illuvium as a whole is better off making this for mobile gamers, then I'm fully for it. I think a workaround that would be good for both is if I think this isn't my idea, but I read it in the feedback ideas. I don't remember who posted it, but it had something to do with some kind of contract where Illuvium Zero players will say, go in the overworld, do this for me or whatever, and an actual overworld player will do that for you. It's not automated. See, that's something I would prefer, so that we can keep fuel flowing, we can keep the sanctity of the IBG the way it should be, and keep overworld populated with players catching alluvials.
Yeah, I believe that was Philo. He's been putting a lot of ideas in the Discord. Because I was actually chatting with him in a DM because I had a very similar idea with the whole it kind of comes back to the whole idea of lending. But yeah, I like that idea of actually, if you don't want to do it yourself, that's fine. But I still think a human needs to go into the overworld to make it happen. In Artemis, if I know you at all, I'm going to say you agree with us. But why don't you say it for yourself?
Oh gosh, I'm two ways on this so when it first came up, I was very angry, and I was very my immediate reaction was absolutely not. You're and a lot of that was coming kind of actually from a selfish place, because my thought was I really only want to play the overworld, and I plan to fuel my gaming cost by selling what I don't want. Now, if I take a step back from being selfish and I think about it first, that really only comes into concern, let's be honest, at the very start of open beta, when nobody has anything and you have the most money that you can make, really. I think there are ways to make it work, though. Another game, you guys might not know a lot about it, that I've kind of, it's an easy idle clicker. It's called Pirate Nation. And I feel like one way that you could do this is, because, really, how did Overworld start? It's been pitched. It's a pack opening. You're supposed to get resources from it. So if you made it available on mobile where you could say, click the button and go on a run, there's some things I would say you should put in place. First off, a cooldown timer. You shouldn't let anyone be able to just spam it. Second, anything you get from it should be let's say you take the average of what you get in run, make it 30% of that. So yes, you can go the easy route, but you're not getting nearly as good stuff as if you want. You go in and get yourself. Also, I would argue that maybe hollows and dark hollows shouldn't be available that way, because the whole argument being made is there are countries, many of them, that the average person doesn't have a PC. And, I'm staked. I'm interested in that revenue distribution, and we shouldn't give up the opportunity to tap into those people who want to buy in and play the game. And that's the way to do it. So I don't like it, but it's not going to stop me from playing the game. And overall, for the ecosystem long term, I think it would be a good idea if we put those checks and balances in place.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little bit of both of what you said. Like I said, the whole lending idea, I've been big on that. And I think that could work by having another human actually go play for you. So say you're in a part of the world where you don't have access to the PC. There could be some system through your phone where you could have somebody else go out in the overworld and do that for you, and then you could get a share of that. But from early on, I always said it is very important to be able to have that full loop mobile only. Long term, what I would really like to see is just a version of the overworld on your phone. I mean, we've seen with other really good titles, like you can put these games on your phone. Like, I don't see a reason why the overworld can't be on your phone at some point. Even if it's not a one-to-one copy, it could be, you know, I don't want to say dumbed down a little bit, but it doesn't have to be that full overworld experience. But the reason I don't like the whole speedrun idea is because even if you have a cooldown, if you can just click a button and then you can go do something else and then come back to it, I still don't think that's fair for the people who are in the overworld playing it. If anything, I would like to see, you know, you could do it from your phone, but you have to be active for around that same time. Like, there's got to be something active that you're doing on your phone rather than a click, move on, and come back. But, I mean, those are my thoughts on it. I do think it is very important to have that full game loop mobile only. But, I mean, we'll see how it goes. As for me, like, I'm fortunate enough to have a computer. I can't wait to get into the overworld myself. I don't know, just going around catching those alluvials, I can't wait. It's still not even gonna, the itch isn't gonna be scratched when we get to that test net. I can't wait till we get to that open beta main net.
I actually really like the idea of the Illuvium Zero training gyms. I think that could be a really cool thing for free to play players on land plots. If they can like use their resources to build up a gym, and then somebody could come along and like say I have to pay so much Solon or Hyperion to train. And then it's like the Pokemon daycare center, right? You just leave it there and, you know, hey, come back in a week. And it'll like, obviously not as efficient as just going in and using them in the arena, but I think it's cool. I think it has merit.
Yeah, and like you said with the other things, like if you have like the right checks and balances in point or in place, then I think it could work. But you don't want to make it so that the better option is doing it the easy way, you know?
True.
You want
Very
the hard way to be the best option. But all right, let's move on to this next topic here. So this is, if you're in the Discord at all, like the landowners over the past few weeks have just been like going wild. It comes down to one thing that Kieran said in an AMA or maybe it was the town hall. He said that Illuvium Zero might possibly be a little delayed from the open beta. And, you know, some people caught wind of that and took it to the extreme. Like, we're not getting open beta, or we're not getting Illuvium Zero. It could be months and months down the line. To be fair, we don't know. We could still get it at the start of open beta, according to Kieran. It could be a little delayed. But they've been asking for a lot. And, I mean, I'm part of that community too. I owned a few, actually 5 plots of land. But they've been asking for compensation for 2 years of a delay. And now with a possible more of a delay going into open beta, you know, they're asking for compensation there too. Kieran did put out one proposal. It basically doesn't give a compensation. It just talks about how the revenue would be distributed after open beta starts, but before fuel is produced, which I think is a good proposal on its own. But there's still a part of the community that wants more. They want some, I don't know, reimbursement or compensation for basically 2 years of holding onto an asset that had no utility. So, Artemis, I don't know how much land you own, but what are your thoughts on this? Do you think there's merit to that? Like, should the landowners get some compensation, or is this just how things go? Some things get delayed, and this is just what we're dealing with.
So I'm going to start off by saying, yes, I do own land. Me and my husband collectively own 6 plots. And you know what, landowners, I'm probably not your friend on this. I'm going to lead in with, would it be nice to get compensation for 2 years of having invested in this and not seeing anything? Absolutely. And now that I'm not on council and I don't necessarily have to, I mean, I should always think with Illuvium's, longevity first. If an IIP came through to give me compensation for each of my lands, I'm not going to argue about it. I absolutely appreciate that they are devising ways to distribute any revenue that is made before land goes live, because absolutely that should be done. I was mad a year and a half ago. I was mad a year ago. I was right up in there. And in the last year, it kind of came down to that point of like, do I still believe that Illuvium's gonna make it? And my thought is yes, I still have faith. It's gonna be a bumpy road, but long term, I think Illuvium's gonna be a staple in this space. And because of that, I just kind of view it as one of my investments that, like, it's not even that it hasn't worked out. It just didn't make me rich overnight. I still love that I own land. I don't plan on selling any of my land. I might buy more land, whether another sale comes up, or, you know, depending on how things go once I'm not poor. Just for the fact that like fuel is going to be in every game that they produce. They're already thinking about the next games, which is only going to funnel back to what I have. I love that they're not promising, but like they've pretty much stated we're not doing any more land sales anytime soon. So it's not like I have to share more of the revenue that's coming in the next 6 months. That's not really answering your question, but I'm currently at the mindset where I'm just kind of like, you know what, it's been 2 years, suck it up. If they choose to do some sort of compensation, I mean, we have gotten the fuel crate drops. Those were kind of like a woo. But it's also like when we got paid out in we got that one payout from Illuvium Beyond, or no, it was the land sale, right? To our ILV that was staked. I got $5.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
it's like, I don't.
It hasn't been worth claiming it.
Maybe it's just because I'm not a big enough whale, right? It's like I don't own enough land, or I don't have enough ILV staked to where it makes like this $1,000 life-changing money to me. But it's like, I don't think there's anything, like even if something did go through, I wouldn't expect anything more than maybe 10 or 20 bucks worth of something because of what I hold. So to me, it's like, it's not worth team's time to do this at this point.
Yeah. In what you mentioned about like thinking more of the long term, that's my thought on it. Like, I'm obviously very bullish on Illuvium, but like, I think it's here for the long term. If we're here for the long term, land is going to do just fine. It's going to do what it needs to do. If it's delayed a little further, oh well. You know, the Illuvium stakers could come out and say the same thing. They could be like, we've been staking for RevDis, and RevDis hasn't been happening for the most part over 2 years. But they're not doing that. It's the landowners. And trust me, I don't have anything against landowners. Like, I've been a big proponent of landowners, which is why I put through a proposal earlier in this epoch to just make sure that for every future game going forward, fuel is always, you know, what's used. Like, the 5% is always going to go to the landowners for every future game. I was happy with that. Once that got through, I was just like, all right. Now, whenever Illuvium has their 10th game coming out, every one of those is, you know, 5% is going to go to the landowners. That made me happy, especially for that long-term hold. But I do understand where they're coming. Jimbo, what are your thoughts on this? I know you got a couple plots of land, right?
Yeah, I don't know why Artie had to be so made to the landowners there, but I will keep it tempered personally.
Suck it up.
Also, like, who is saying that Jape isn't like fighting for landowners? If you say that, you're an idiot. I don't know if that's what you were implying, but like, dude, you're actually like screwed in the head if you think that.
Not really implying that, but I was in the chats a little bit, and then I don't even want to get into it.
People are just the thing is, people are just getting
people were
heated.
questioning it.
People are just getting heated and upset because they have tons of money and the game was delayed, which shouldn't have happened. End of story. But I saw somebody in the feedback ideas that had to do with this topic say, and they were like going off on Scrubba, who's a council member, and saying like, if we don't get the open beta delayed so that Illuvium Zero can come out with open beta, I'm gonna blame it on you. And that's like not constructive talking, guys. So like, please, we're a DAO, we're all here to like win, so let's keep it cool. But anyways,
I saw some comments about like, let's just refresh the whole council, they're not doing what they need to do.
dude,
No. Let's be honest. If you are on council, it doesn't matter what assets you own. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the community. You are wrong. You are what's stopping me from getting what I want.
True.
You can be agreeing with them and they'll go like, you are evil.
True. But I'm going to pull back real quick and be like, I understand people are upset because they have tons of money and land. And again, the game shouldn't have been delayed to begin with. But that happens when you make a game, right? Like that, it is what it is. Should landowners get compensation? No. I don't know. Like maybe if the game comes out and land is still not out 2 months afterwards, maybe you should get like 2x fuel production for 2 months or something like that. But we can't delay the open beta for Illuvium Zero, guys. Come on. Like, we're already in a place where we've delayed for how long now? The game has to come out. We have to start generating fuel or everyone loses. Not just landowners. Everyone loses. But if we get this open beta right, and it just smashes, dude, we all win. You know what I mean? So let's keep our eyes on the prize. not think about, it's not even thinking selfishly, because if you want to delay open beta, you're acting against your own self-interest. So let's think with our heads. Let's all love each other and get through this together. We'll figure out a solution.
They're
So
they're
that
gonna come
everybody's...
after us in the comments. I just see it.
No, I'm a landowner, dude. I love
All
landowners.
three of us
Yeah, we
are.
all are.
And I understand. I understand why you're pissed. You deserve to be pissed. But delaying open beta is just not an option. It's gonna hurt you. I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
like, the doing stuff that is legitimately going to hurt you. Again, if we get that open beta right, baby, we gonna be in the money. You know what I
All right,
mean?
can I ask
Yeah.
you guys a question? All right, 0 to 100. What do you think is the percentage chance of like Illuvium just hitting the right mark at open beta and like mooning to popularity? Because I'm a little skeptical, honestly. I think they'll do well, but I don't expect us to do like exceptionally well.
You go first on this.
Oh, okay. So I don't think we're gonna do well. I think we're gonna do okay, and that's good. I mean, because we can build on top of what. I mean, again, Illuvium's a long-term thing. Like, we don't need to just smash the open beta release, and I don't think we're going to. I think it's actually very unlikely with the state of the game right now. But again, I've been saying it for the longest time. The devs have been a little slow, but the foundation that they're building on top of is genius, and it has so much potential, and these people are smart. Like, let's be honest, the game devs in Illuvium are very intelligent. They know what they're doing. We just need to give them the time so that they can make the game as good as it can be. And this is why there are no good Web3 games. The technology hasn't been there for that to even be possible, and now it takes years to make a good game. So technology, now we've caught up. Now it takes time to make that good game. That's why there's no good games in Web3. A AAA game takes years and years to make. So let's give the devs time. Let's give them a little leeway. I know we've given them a lot already, but at the end of the day, it just is what it is. That's part of making a game.
I'd say I'm on kind of that same boat here. One thing I was just like a comparison I was just thinking about is I mean, first of all, forget the price here, but think about like Bitcoin compared to most other cryptos. Bitcoin doesn't go skyrocketing as much as the other ones. You know, Bitcoin might go up and the other things will outpace it for a couple weeks. And then Bitcoin will down a little bit and everything will outpace it down. But if you look at the long term, you know, Bitcoin's on that slow and steady race. And I think that's kind of what Illuvium is going to be like. Like Jimbo said, they have the best foundation, I think, out there in Web3 gaming. So they might not, you know, get this huge success right away like we saw with Axie a few years ago, or Pixels, or any of these other games. Mavia popping off for a couple weeks. I don't know if we're going to get that, but I think over the long term, you know, Illuvium is going to be at the top
And
of the top
do
of
we
it, you know?
even want that? If we build
Exactly.
up slow and steady, that's a much easier foundation to build on top of. You know what I mean? If we just pump all these players in all at once, it's very likely that ILV token will get oversaturated, the price will go up, it'll drop, and then everybody's going to leave because they'll get butthurt. But if we build that player base over time, that's a much, much healthier place to be in.
I completely agree.
Ditto.
All right, so let's move on to this last topic. Jimbo, this is going to be more on you because you know more about this than I do. Stepping away from Illuvium for a little bit. Go for it, Jimbo.
Okay, so this one is about Hearthstone pros moving over to Web3. You know, all of these Web2 gamers that used to talk shit about NFTs coming over to NFT gaming because Hearthstone and Blizzard shit the bed. There's no more money to be made in there. All of the pros that played Hearthstone are screwed. They don't have a choice. They have to come to Web3, and Web3 is here welcoming them with open arms. Parallel is putting on a $500,000 tournament, and they have their devs, and I think it's like their version of Rich, the community manager, but they have people on the Parallel team being like, if you're a Hearthstone pro, we will validate it and give you a deck to play. And all these Hearthstone pros, I've seen multiple posts from it blew up in the Hearthstone community. There was not a single one that didn't make a post on that day that the $500,000 tournament was posted. And I was seeing multiple posts about people who are like, you know, I hate NFTs and they're so stupid, but if someone wants to give me one of these decks, I'll try the game out. You know what I mean? So I used to think Web2 gamers just were too brainwashed to come over into Web3, and now I'm like, wait, this shit is easy. It's game over. It
Right?
just there only needs to be a good game, and boom, like that, everybody changes their mind. They don't care about their old opinions. So,
Yeah,
do
a
you
good
guys
game
think
and have
that's
a
going to
little
happen?
monetary incentive. Yeah,
Exactly. So that's my question to you guys. In my brain, it's like, okay, click. It's that easy. Is it really that easy to bring people over from Web 2 into Web 3 just by proving that the system works? Go ahead,
yeah.
and Jafe, I'll start with you.
I'll say for sure. And if you think otherwise, then I don't think you were here during the last bull market. Because when money is flowing, the game doesn't even have to be that good to draw people in. But now you get into this upcoming, market, and we have good games. So now you put that monetary incentive on a really good game, and it was easy 3 years ago with shit games. It's gonna be so much easier now. Because it's like, okay, I'm going from playing a good Web 2 game to a good Web 3 game, but there's more of an incentive over here. Why would I not do it? That's why I think it's the future of gaming. All games are going to be run similar to this 10 years down the road.
Yeah, I actually disagree. I think it's going to be harder than last cycle, but still not
Yeah.
that hard because those Web3 games were shit. A lot of them were built like Ponzi schemes, like Axie. So that burned a lot of people, like a lot of people. There's so many Web2 gamers that are like, oh, but what about Axie? We saw what happened with Axie, not realizing there's like 1,000 different fucking games. But that's the mindset of people. They have very short term mindset, and when everybody hates something, they'll do very, very small amounts of research and they'll also hate it. But on the flip side, that kind of mindset can be changed pretty easily, I think. But what do you think, Artemis?
Well, hang on. Are we talking about this next bull run, this next year or two, or are we talking about 10 years from now? Because the next 2 years, it's not let's be honest, it is not the game bringing gamers over. It is the money. Because what you just described was someone saying that like, hey, come play in this big money league. If you are a pro and you prove it to me, I will give you this deck that costs money to play to earn money.
To be fair, there's free versions of the decks, but you have to work for that. So they were giving that to them for free.
I mean, it's just that idea, right? It's like with Arena, with what it was, right? Not what they're kind of fixing and they're making some changes. No, I absolutely don't think Arena with what it was going to make it, because I got so pissed and mad at having to spend 45 minutes, and I know the game. I know not as well as like Viper and you, but like I know it fairly well. And I spent 45 minutes making what I think was a great deck to be smashed 5 times in a row. And like I didn't play Arena for the longest time because I got tired and frustrated, and I had no one to blame but myself. But there it is. But to me at this point, it doesn't matter how good the game is, because there are still going to be people who are scared of crypto. Now, this could change, right? Like we haven't really experienced a lot of games that are using things like the IMX passport. How many people used our links to sign up for the testnet and thought that something was wrong because all they had to do was put in an email and then choose their ranger name? And like, I thought I was like recording myself doing this setup because I was going to make a video and I had my OBS going. I'm like, wait, no, I did something wrong.
That's it.
It's like I was just so confused because I'm like, wait, where's the wallet? How do I connect this with my MetaMask wallet to make sure that like my Illuvium Beyond stuff can be pulled in so that I can use my profile picture and stuff? And if that really is how it's going to be, if that's how easy it is for Illuvium, absolutely, I think we can market it as not a crypto game, not a Web3. This is just a game. You put in your email, you choose your username, you get playing. And then, the next step is the hard part, which is you have to get them past that free-to-play version to being able to use their credit card. And I don't know what that system looks like on the IMX passport. So potentially, if you can make it seamless, it absolutely can work. But if they know it's Web3, if they know it's crypto, it being a good game, at this point, I don't think it's enough. In 5 years, 10 years, with everything being built, absolutely it could be, but it's still, the learning curve is too hard. It's I came in at the end of the last bull run, and I remember buying ILV at like $2,000, $1,800, somewhere in that range. It was horrible. And within a month of being into crypto for the first time, I clicked bad link and I lost everything I had invested. There 98% of the people that happens to, I bet, never come back. And it is still that way. It is still too easy. In fact, the thing that scares me about the IMX passport is like how secure. I'm scared about how secure it is, because I'm like, I don't want to use that to catch my alluvials and get a dark hollow ramfire and have someone just hack my email and then be able to get it. Those are my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'll give you, in case you don't know or anybody doesn't know, I'll give you a little more information on how the passport will work.
Oh yeah.
So you'll be able to connect your MetaMask to it. Say you have a wallet on your ledger through the MetaMask. You can connect that wallet to your IMX passport as a read-only, and you'll be able to play the game with those assets. So what it's going to look like is whatever you want to transact with to make things easy and simple, that, like, I wouldn't say you're willing to lose, but like if you want to put some fuel in your Illuvium passport, maybe you have some, I don't know, other resources that you want to transact with easily without having to take out your ledger and type it in, you can keep that in the passport. But if you go out and you catch that dark hollow ramfire, once you finish that run, you just go under your Illuvium passport and send it to your ledger wallet, and it's still connected, so you can still play with that asset. Yeah, I think there could be some security issues for the people who are just don't know how to do that side of things and just have everything in that IMX wallet. But for everybody who knows how things work, like, I'm going to be the person where I catch an alluvial, if it's over X amount of dollars that I don't want to lose, I'm just sending that to my ledger wallet right away.
Yep.
I don't think that's that big of a problem. I don't think you need to worry about that too much.
Go ahead.
So I have a quick question then. So I'm actually, because of the whole sign up, and I was like, wait, this is too easy. Something's wrong. I've just started like, okay, it's about time I dust myself off and I actually learn about the IMX passport. So I'm still in my research phase. Can you, for that read-only connection, can you connect more than one wallet? So like right now for Illuvium Beyond, to make it easy, I have stuff in a hot wallet where I do all my selling. And then I've got stuff in a cold wallet, like this is my collection. It's not going anywhere.
So I'm kind of in a similar boat because I had all of my land in one wallet, and then I started building out my Illuvium Beyond collection in a different wallet. So I'm kind of the same way. I want to be able to connect multiples. If you go into the IMX passport right now, it looks as if that you'll be able to connect more than one wallet. I can't say that for sure. I'm not 100% sure because I don't even think you can actually connect it yet. It's kind of just like there for now. Because if you try to connect it, it doesn't work for some reason. But I would imagine that in the future, you'd be able to connect as many wallets as you want.
Sweet, I hope so.
I'd say there's going to be some kind of way so that you can't connect your wallet to multiple passports, because then you'd be able to play on multiple accounts. But I think you'll be able to put multiple wallets as read-only to one passport.
I'm sure as we hit open beta, the number of like how to IMX passport videos will just
Once I figure that out.
Yeah.
Before we get off of this topic, I just want to say this so people can debate, like use this as an argument against their friends. Like, yeah, people are going to lose some of their stuff from their wallets, but this isn't anything gamers haven't experienced before with MMOs. I've lost like $500, $1,000 on RuneScape accounts from clicking a link that I shouldn't have when I was like 13. And when you're 13, $500 is like $1 million. So it felt pretty bad. And I'm sure like Illuvium, I hope the decks aren't over $1,000, but I don't think it'll be anything people haven't experienced before with MMOs and stuff. Not that it doesn't really hurt, but that's one of the reasons I've never gotten hacked, because I already got hacked back in the past.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a username and password for all those other games anyways. You're playing RuneScape, right? It's just a username and password. Just like IMX is going to be a username and password. I'll bring this up quick because I was thinking about this when you were talking about the money incentive. I kind of thought about it just like being an athlete. I'm a soccer player. I go and play in over 30 leagues. I have fun. If, any of these professional soccer leagues come and scout me out and say, hey, I'm going to pay you to come play in my league, I'm going. So it's the same kind of thing. If Hearthstone is a very, similar game to parallel, whatever this is, and it's like, oh, I can play one where I don't really make any money and I'm getting incentivized to play the other one, why wouldn't you go over and play?
Yeah, and not only that,
it just makes sense to go try it out.
Not only that, the people who are good enough to get that win to earn game, get that money from those kinds of games, those are the people that set the culture, because they're the ones that are the streamers.
True.
They're the ones at the top of the leaderboards that people look at. So if they move over to another game, everybody else is, even if it's it can be slightly worse, and people are still going to move over, because now they're not wasting time. They're having fun and earning money. It's just passive income.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm glad you brought that topic up, Jimbo. Because I wouldn't have, because I'm so like tunnel vision on Illuvium, maybe a little ETH lizards, a little Mavia, but like so much on Illuvium that I'm missing a lot of these other things.
I am too, but I love being right, so I like when I can rub stuff in people's faces.
Yeah, so that's gonna conclude this episode. Episode 43 in the books. Artemis, thank you for coming on. I'll have links. I always put links down below, even if I forget to say it. For any of the guests, Jimbo's always going to have links down there. I'll put links to Artemis for her YouTube, her X. Artemis giving the heart. I'll give the heart too. Yeah. So thanks for watching. Any final words, Artemis?
No, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you want these more, because let's be honest, they're thebomb.com.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to have you back again on in the future. I think this is already your second time. You've been on once before, early on. And I was just sort of recently on your show there with ETH Lizard. So
yeah, I can't wait for that to start back up, like maybe in September.
And I don't think there's a ton of people in this community that are like as big into Illuvium Beyond, even as me and you. I mean, there's 100 people in the top 100, and me and you are two of them.
Magic. I got into card collecting with like Magic the Gathering and Pokemon. I've got my decks over there. So yeah, Illuvium Beyond. I just like collecting. Can I just insert something that I cannot wait for? The whole reason I was like got into Illuvium Beyond, and I'm actually kind of a little pissed that it's not out yet, was the album collection rewards. I don't like buying skins, but I liked the cards and the collecting. I'm like, if I can complete my Atlas collection and get an Atlas skin or a Atlas themed battle board, that's so cool. I like the variety. And it'd be account bound, not NFTs, but this is so cool. Well, we don't have that yet. We don't even know what we can get yet.
I know. Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, hopefully soon.
Anyway,
I think that was brought up. Recently in a town hall. I think we're gonna get that soon. I think by open beta we have to get that information, right? Like,
there's a lot of things that have been promised by open beta, so I'll be curious to see what the team actually hits.
Yeah, if they hit everything, like Jimbo said, like hit everything, and it's gonna be wild. You hit half of the stuff that they promised, and I think it's gonna be wild.
As long as the game is playable, that's all I care.
Yeah.
I just want to play the game, bro. Please.
Skins can come later.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. Come back in a couple weeks for another episode. Thanks, you guys.
Bye-bye.